multiplication and division. And I want to think about some problems. We're going to start with problem solving. So we're going to look at some pencil problems. So I want you to think about problem 1. If Rebecca has 4 boxes of pencils and there are 6 pencils in each box, how many pencils does Rebecca have altogether? Now, I don't want the answer from you. I want to know what is missing. What type of problem is this? Do we know the result? Is it giving us the result? Do we know that, because we know multiplication deals with groupings and numbers in groupings? Do we know the number of groups? Do we know how many's in each group? Or do we know the total? So when it says Rebecca has 4 boxes of pencils, what do we know there?
She has 4 groups of 6 pencils.
Right. So we know the groups. And then it says there are 6 pencils in each box. So we know the what? Not only do we know the groups, but we know how many are in each group.
Each group.
Right. So we know the number of groups and we know the number in each group. So in this problem, we're trying to find out the total, right? We're trying to find out how many altogether. So the result is unknown in this one. Remember from yesterday, with the results are unknown. All right, let's look at the next problem. Rebecca has 24 pencils and they are packed 6 pencils in a box. So how many boxes of pencils does she have? In this problem, what are we looking for?
How many groups that she has?
Yes, yes. We know how many pencils she's got. We've got that. We know how many are in each group, in each box. But we don't know how many boxes she's going to have, right? How many groups she's going to have. All right, next scenario. Rebecca has 6 boxes of pencils with the same number of pencils in each box. And altogether, she has 24 pencils. So how many pencils are in each box? In this case, we know the number of groups, correct? And we know how many altogether. So what are we trying to find out in this problem?
The number in each box or each group.
The number in each group, right. So you see how that multiplication problems, when we talk about story problems, we need to give the kids all different types of problems. We need to give them the different versions, different ways. They're going to have to either find the number of groups, or they're going to have to find how many's in each group, or they're going to need to find out how many altogether sometimes as well. Okay, so that's the different types of ways of thinking about multiplication problems. So what I'd like for you to do is, like we did yesterday, I'd like for you to write a multiplication story problem in the chat box, and we'll look at it, and we're going to do the same type of thing we did yesterday. We're going to think about what type of problem it is and see where we can plug it in at on that chart. Okay, we're going to go ahead and get started. We've got some I see in the chat box already, so let's go ahead and, well, let me get it back over here. Look at our chart here today. This one looks a little different, obviously, because it's working with multiplication and division situations. Going down the left side, you could be dealing with equal groups. You could be dealing with arrays, or we're talking about area, or you can comparing numbers. And of course, here's your general way that these are set up for us. Going across the top, if you have an unknown product, and of course, it's important to use that language with our kids. An unknown product, that of course is our answer. If the group size is unknown, so how many in each group, which tends to help us do with division. That's where division comes into play. And then of course, the number in each group is unknown, or the number of groups rather is known. So how many in a group, or the number of groups. So let's look at our problem. Well, actually, I want you to look at your problem and think about plugging in where you think it might go. So go ahead and remember how to annotate. Like yesterday, go ahead and annotate and choose yourself a symbol. Okay, looks like we've got one with the product unknown, and we've got one with the number of groups unknown. So whose heart's on product unknown?
That is my heart.
Okay, on the unknown product?
That's the first one, right?
Yes, yes.
Yes.
All right, all right. So let's look at your, Sabrina. You've got 83 students were passing around a petition to stop the historical statue from being demolished. Each student collected 14 signatures. What was the total number of signatures the students collected? Okay, yeah, I agree. Does everyone else agree that that's what we're looking for? What I love about this problem, Sabrina, is that it's timely and relevant. And that's important too. When we're coming up with story problems for our kids, they need to be something they can relate to. And right now, that's definitely something students could relate to. They love it when you use their names in story problems, or something about their school, something about what's going on at school. So that's an important aspect that I hadn't even thought about until you actually wrote that problem and I read it there. So I like that. Let's see, who has the heart on number of groups unknown?
That's me, Melissa.
Okay, Melissa, let's look at yours. And see, Melissa did the same thing. She's used Sabrina's name here, which obviously Sabrina's part of our group. So that's a cool thing to do. Use the kids' names. Sabrina has 6 pillows. She flew into a rage and tore apart her pillows. And that was supposed to be 600, correct? 600 feathers went all over. Ollie told her she better fix those pillows, each with an equal number of feathers. How many feathers did Sabrina have to sew into each pillow?
My staff knows me all too well. That's my mom's name she used in there too, and she must have known I was a troublemaker.
I love it.
I wanted to put in there that Brock was hiding because he knew better than to mess with you when you were mad.
There you go. I love it. I love it. That's what we want to do for our kids. Make them something that they're interested in, not something generic, something that they can relate to.
Mine was the unknown product in equal groups as well.
Okay. So Reese has 2 cat houses. Each cat house has 6 toys. And how many toys does Reese have? So we know the number of groups. We know what's in each group. There's 6 in each group, so we're looking for the product. All right. Let's see. And we got Cindy's here. Jacob has 5 baskets of cars. When he dumps them on the floor, he has 25 cars all together. So how many cars are in each basket? Okay, where are we going to put Sandy's? Do we know the product?
We know the product,
Cindy's just, I think her connection is struggling. We can barely make out what you're trying to say, Cindy. We do know the product. I think that's what you said. We know the product is 25. We know, says he has 5 baskets of cars. So we know the groups, but we're asking how many are in each group. So we don't know the size of the groups. So we don't know how many's in each group. So we plug it in the middle there on that one, I would think. Okay. So the reason I wanted to do this activity with you is to get you to thinking about, like we did yesterday, is coming up with different types of problems, not just a standard unknown product problems for our kids, but we need to have them, we need to give them experiences with other types of problems. I mean, the multiplication problems that are looking for something other than just the product. Sometimes they need to know the number of, in the group size, and sometimes they need to know the number of groups.